Seeds of Wisdom RV and Economic Updates Tuesday afternoon, the 2nd of September 25. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Good afternoon. Dinar recaps. BRICS could worsen U.S. debt and deficit crisis. JP Morgan reports de-dollarization trends may deepen America's $36 trillion debt burden as foreign financing dries up. BRICS de-dollarization and U.S. fiscal risks. JP Morgan has warned that the BRICS bloc's push away from the U.S. dollar could exacerbate America's growing debt and deficit crisis. With the U.S. deficit exceeding $36 trillion, reduced foreign appetite for Treasury bonds is creating a fragile outlook for U.S. borrowing costs. According to the bank, global financing for U.S. debt is waning as BRICS accelerate de-dollarization efforts. JP Morgan cautioned that this could trigger bond market disruptions within months or even years. Tariffs backfire, strengthening BRICS unity. The Biden administration's 50% tariffs on India and Brazil have had unintended consequences, reinforcing BRICS solidarity rather than weakening it. India suspended arms purchases from the U.S. Brazil deepened coordination with BRICS partners. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva underscored the bloc's anti-dollar stance. "I do not need to continuously bow to the dollar." Meanwhile, China's yuan now accounts for over 50% of its cross-border transactions, up from 25% in 2020. Globally, dollar reserves have fallen from 70% to about 58%, while DBS Bank reported a 30% surge in yuan trade settlements. Foreign financing of U.S. debt declines. JP Morgan highlighted that foreign holdings of U.S. Treasuries have fallen to just 30% of total outstanding bonds, amplifying financing pressures. The bank wrote, as the U.S. government seeks to cut taxes to offset the impact of tariffs, financing needs are rising. Yet the world is now less willing to finance America's deficit. Jamie Dimon's bond market warning. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon echoed concerns about America's fiscal trajectory, warning that the U.S. is running $2 trillion annual deficits, double the pre-pandemic levels of 2019. "It's a big deal. You know it is a real problem. But one day, the bond markets are gonna have a tough time. I don't know if it's 6 months or 6 years." Key warning signs. Interest expenses now exceed U.S. defense spending and Medicare costs. Moody's downgraded the U.S. credit rating, citing debt ratios far above comparable sovereigns. Reform solutions for a BRICS-driven crisis. Dimon urged Washington to adopt growth-focused reforms to mitigate the impact of de-dollarization and deficits. Pro-business. Deregulation and permitting reform, skills development and workforce expansion, anti-fraud and efficiency measures in government programs. The real focus should be growth, that's the best way, Dimon said, stressing that reforms need not harm the vulnerable but should reduce waste and abuse. Why this matters. JP Morgan warns that if BRICS de-dollarization continues, the U.S. could face a permanent erosion of its borrowing power. Rising borrowing costs and shrinking foreign support for treasuries risk pushing America into a cycle of higher deficits, weaker trade flows, and diminished dollar dominance. Outcomes with profound global consequences. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon.
Source: Dinar Recaps.